In the news tonight, His Majesty and the Slovenian President hold talks on bilateral cooperation in the economic, trade and investment fields, as well as regional issues, namely the Syria crisis and the war on terror. Russian military vehicles deliver aid to Hanano district in eastern Aleppo as residents who had fled for government-held areas early in the war returned to the districts to inspect their homes. And the candidate vying to become Europe's first freely elected far-right head of state since World War II concedes defeat in Austria's presidential election. Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the news. Here are the details. His Majesty King Abdullah and Slovenian President Borut Pahor held talks here in Amman on bilateral cooperation in the economic, trade and investment fields, as well as regional issues, namely the Syria crisis and the war on terror. The talks at Al Husseiniya Palace focused on cooperation in areas such as alternative and renewable energy, information technology, water, medical tourism, agriculture and military industries. During an expanded meeting between the two sides, His Majesty told the Slovenian President that his visit to the kingdom provides an opportunity for the two countries to strengthen existing ties and to stimulate economic relations. Pahor highlighted the need to capitalize on signed memoranda of understanding and a Jordanian-Slovenian Business Council to establish joint investment ventures and promote business relations between the two private sectors.
Mr. President, if you would allow me on behalf of all of us here representing Jordan to welcome you to our country and to thank you very much for bringing your colleagues with you on what I think is a very important meeting. I had the honor of visiting your country quite some time ago, but I believe that there's so much that we have in common that by you being here will be an opportunity for us to be able to strengthen the British, not only politically, which I see as no problem, but to look at the opportunities of the economy, but with all the challenges that we have today, also looking at our security and defence portfolios, because I think we are all now shoulder to shoulder in the challenges that we have ahead. I hope today will be an opportunity to really build some building blocks between our two countries. I remember my very short visit with tremendous fondness. So on behalf of all of us, welcome here to Amman, and I am delighted to have you here.
We've visited the camp. You are doing a very, very good job with poor people. Huge camp. Would be the third biggest city in my country, and it's well managed. The people are satisfied, no intolerance. So really, I've never seen such a campus, such a refugee camp, so well organized. And I would like to thank you for your humanitarian, job that you are doing as a leader of your country and as a leader for peaceful transition of whole region to the future. Your Majesty, let us do our best for the sake of good economic relations. Political are excellent, and we debated just now how to go even further. I think it's once again the opportunity to go back and to start business and to do our best to boost the economic relations. As I said, Your Majesty, we need friends around the world. We feel like we have a very good friend in you, Your Majesty. I would like to deepen this, trust between you and me, between two nations and two countries. And this is, I think, for the future, for the sake of two nations and two countries, very, very important. So to have friends, to have somebody around the world that would pick up the phone and talk to you and exchange views and support you and inspire you, I'm so glad that we have one here.
Prime Minister Hani Mulki also met with the Slovenian President Pahor and discussed with him bilateral ties and the situation in the region. The meeting also dealt with a political solution to the Syria crisis, as well as the need to renew Palestinian-Israeli peace talks, leading to a just and durable end to the conflict. Pahor said he will discuss with European leaders means through which Europe can support Jordan as it continues to receive Syrian refugees and provide for their needs. Pahor made a tour of the Zaatrid refugee camp yesterday and praised the high level of services available to Syrians. Separately, President Pahor visited the King Hussein Business Park, where he was introduced to innovative achievements by young Jordanian entrepreneurs who were able to turn their business ideas into pioneering international companies. Chairman of the board, Muayyad Samman, presented a briefing about the King Hussein Business Park, which houses more than 150 companies, 75 of which are international. The business park provides a safe environment for emerging companies through the provision of financial support and capacity building. President Pahor also met with the leaders of a number of companies operating in the park who spoke about their success stories. Minister of Foreign and Expatriates Affairs Nasser Joudet met with the French Special Envoy to the Middle East peace process, Pierre Vimont, and discussed with him efforts to advance Palestinian-Israeli peace talk. Vimont spoke about the outcome of his recent visits to a number of world capitals to push for the convening of an international peace conference on the Palestinian-Israeli issue in Paris before the end of the year. He also briefed Joudet on the objectives of the conference, as well as on consultations to hold a preparatory meeting at the foreign ministers level ahead of the prospective conference. Over to Iraq, at least 2 people were killed while 8 were injured in a car bomb explosion in the capital, Baghdad. The explosion took place in Al-Shuhada Square in the center of Baghdad when a booby-trapped car detonated at a crowded area near a government building. No group has so far claimed responsibility for the attack. Elsewhere in Iraq, 2 Daesh terrorists tried to attack army barracks in the western province of Anbar, but police and army sources said the attackers were killed before they reached the base. The Iraqi army continues to gain ground against a group that still holds about 3/4 of the northern city of Mosul. The elite counter-terrorism service units and other army divisions have captured around half of the eastern side of Mosul, which is split down the center by the Tigris River. Iraqi commanders say they have killed at least 1,000 Daesh terrorists, but the military has not given figures for its own casualties. A U.S.-led coalition has bombed 4 of the 5 bridges across the river, aiming to stem a flow of suicide car bombs from the west, targeting the army in the eastern neighborhoods. With an estimated 30,000 Syrians uprooted in the latest fighting in Aleppo, residents who fled eastern Aleppo for government-held areas early in the war began returning to the Hanano district to inspect their homes. As the residents were returning, 11 Russian military vehicles headed for Hanano to distribute food and medical aid to civilians in temporary shelters. The Syrian army recently retook Hanano district from the rebels in their advance to take full control of the city. Meanwhile, thousands of civilians had fled to the western part of the city, which is under government control as the fighting raged.
It was a homecoming years in the making. Hundreds of residents returning home, carrying smiles and the Syrian flag. Here in Aleppo's Hanano district, residents cannot contain their excitement.
I have nothing to say. I can't describe my happiness. It is okay. Our homes were destroyed, but we gained victory and returned.
After the Syrian army recaptured the district from rebels, it called on residents to return home with a promise to retake all of Aleppo soon. A source said the army aims to take full control within weeks. A win would deal a major blow to the rebellion against President Bashar al-Assad. Inside the district, residents inspected homes they had not seen in years. Despite extensive damage, residents say they're happy to be back.
We became alive once again. We vowed to kiss the soil of Hanano because we were born here and grew up here. We have so many nice memories here. It wasn't like this, but by God's will, everything will be made up.
And with momentum on the army's side, residents hope they won't be leaving home anytime soon.
The candidate vying to become Europe's first freely elected far-right head of state since World War II conceded defeat in Austria's presidential election. Norbert Hofer of the anti-immigration and anti-Islam Freedom Party conceded he had been soundly beaten by former Greens leader Alexander Van der Bellen. A projection showed Van der Bellen on 53.3% and Hofer on 46.7%, with a margin of error of 1 percentage point. The result is a blow to populists who had hoped a wave of anti-establishment anger sweeping Western democracies would carry Hofer to power after Britain's Brexit referendum and America's election of Donald Trump as president. Austria's president traditionally has a largely ceremonial role, but the election, a rerun of a May vote that was overturned due to counting irregularities, had been seen as another test of populist sentiment in Europe ahead of elections in France, Germany and the Netherlands next year. Her Majesty Queen Rania received the Golden Heart Award at the Heart for Children charity organizations in Berlin in recognition of her global work in support of children's rights and education. In a speech at the organization's 16th gala dinner, Her Majesty expressed concern for millions of children deprived of the basic human right to education. She spoke about Syrian children escaping bombings at home and Yemeni children who have become severely malnourished victims of war, questioning how could this happen at a time of unprecedented progress and opportunity. Her Majesty urged humanitarians to continue their active efforts to support children and to work tirelessly to keep the hopes of children alive. Germany's First Lady Daniela Schott presented Queen Rania with the Golden Heart Award. Some previous recipients include Queen Silva of Sweden, Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway, Princess Charlene of Monaco, and Prince Harry of Wales.
This is true, but it's an unhelpful image.
Fidel Castro's ashes were laid to rest at the end of 9 days of official mourning. Hundreds of thousands of Cubans bid farewell as Castro's cremated remains arrived at the cemetery in Santiago de Cuba and were due to be placed a few steps from the mausoleum of independence hero José Martí at a private ceremony. Castro died on November 25th, aged 90, leaving a mixed legacy. He had been out of power for a decade, but not far from the center of public life. More than 1,000 Santa Claus lookalikes ran for charity in the streets of the Greek capital in the Santa Run Athens 2016. Men, women and children, including babies in strollers, put on Santa costumes and ran in the 2.5-kilometer symbolic race. Cheering ho ho ho, ringing bells and dancing, people flooded the streets of the Greek capital. This is the third year Athens holds this race, and this year's profits will be given to a children's trauma clinic and to the Reception and Solidarity Center of the municipality of Athens. Rup Tondari of Finland scooped the men's big air snowboard World Cup event in Germany. He took the win with 186 points, beating Switzerland's Jonas Bossiger in second and Great Britain's Billy Morgan in third. Following the win, Tondari revealed that his beard and mustache are about to disappear, as he made a bet with his friends that he would shave off the facial hair if he made the podium. In the women's event, Anna Gasser of Austria won with a score of 184. Second was Katie Ormerod of Great Britain, and Japan's Miyabi Ontisuka in third. In the World Cup points table, Gasser continues to dominate with 3 wins out of 3 events and 3,000 points in the bank. American John Florence totaled the second highest score to advance at the Vans World Cup of Surfing on Hawaii's famous Sunset Beach. Florence, the world #1 ranked surfer, managed a score of 9.77 on one ride and finished with a total of 15.94 out of 20 to win his heat and move on to the 4th round. The Vans World Cup of Surfing is part of the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing, 3 World Surf League season-ending events that take place on Hawaii's North Shore. And finally, chilly conditions continue in most regions for the rest of tonight with southeasterly light winds. Tomorrow, similar weather conditions prevail in hilly areas, but it remains fair in other parts of the kingdom with southeasterly moderate winds. In the Gulf of Aqaba, it remains relatively warm tomorrow with northerly moderate winds and slightly high seas. Here now is the temperatures forecast for tonight and tomorrow. And before we go, a statement released by Prime Minister Hani Mulqi's office says December 12th will be a public holiday as the kingdom celebrates the holy occasion of Prophet Muhammad's birth anniversary. The statement said that all ministries and public offices will be closed for the occasion, with the exception of those required to remain operating. And to close, here's a reminder of the day's top stories. His Majesty and the Slovenian President hold talks on bilateral cooperation in the economic, trade and investment fields, as well as regional issues, namely the Syria crisis and the war on terror. Russian military vehicles deliver aid to Hanano district in eastern Aleppo as residents who have fled for government-held areas early in the war return to the district to inspect their homes. And the candidate vying to become Europe's first freely elected far-right head of state since World War II concedes defeat in Austria's presidential election. And with this, we come to the end of this edition of the news. I'm Ali Atuqan. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Good night.